classes and stuff. So
No, I totally agree.
yeah. All right, welcome back to Shop Class Podcast. Tonight we got Evan Thomas. How you doing, Evan?
I'm good, man. Just hump day, right?
Yeah. Wednesday. And tonight we're just gonna do like a senior project or basically project completion to the end of the year. This for us, we only got like a month left. And for you guys, when do you guys end?
June 23rd.
Oh, okay, yeah, I end about the same time. And
But
right on time. We got Duke.
Going on?
All right, we hit
guys
record already, and
already.
yeah, man, we're just gonna go over like final projects, and then I wanted some advice from Evan on converting a cardboard project into a sheet metal project. And then if you got some final projects or like what'd you do for the year and kind of like a wrap up, that would be great.
Yeah, I should have brought the projects home. I didn't get the email for like.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my.
You know what happened was we had a cancellation this week. Tiffany, she was supposed to give us an update
Oh
on yeah, and she'll be either next week or the week after. But she started her own academy, like a welding product academy and stuff out in California. So we'll see what she's up to.
Yeah, I saw a little bit on Instagram.
Nice. Yeah, the Explorers Academy, she called it.
Yep.
That's cool. So Evan, let me pull up your Instagram here. And
yeah, I'm trying to see. Could I share screen? Is that a possibility?
yeah, I can. Yeah. Actually, just go for it. There's a little arrow up, and you click present now, and you just click your screen or window, whatever you want.
Arrow.
Yeah, there you go.
Share screen.
Because we do these cardboard cars, and then I know it sounds silly, but we actually take it pretty serious. They have to put 25 pounds on top. It's got to roll, and then we also drop the weight. They got to drop 20% of their weight. So it's like a whole thing. Oh, cool. There we go. Oh, that's awesome. Wow, look at that.
This is like so basically what we got here. I actually found this online from somebody. But basically, so tools that you kind of have with this are shears, layout. Either you can either use layout die or just like a Sharpie, super fine point Sharpie or something to lay out your sheet metal, or scribes, really whatever you're into. But basically laying out, cutting these to size. But basically we have, it's hard for me to like point, but basically like the two sides of it and the bottom are like one whole piece, just kind of bent on a break to a U shape.
Is the entire bottom one piece?
Yeah, so the bottom and the two sides are one piece, kind of. So they're just bent to a U, basically.
Okay.
And then on the front and the back are just half-inch tabs with like 45-degree angles to help with kind of the fitment. And then we just got some drilled holes and some pop rivets. And this is also, so we do this in like first trimester, like when we're kind of just getting into sheet metal and measuring and laying out and whatnot. And so the top it's the same basically concept as the front and the back. It's just three tabs on three sides, and you just have to make all your measurements just a little bit bigger so the top closes on top. So this is kind of like a straightforward, almost not intro really, but kind of, it's kind of like the first kind of like assembly project.
Yeah, this is really cool. I like this because it teaches them about the corners, the relief corners. I see you got a split there. Oh, Tim's here. That's pretty cool. It's like a split relief corner there, and then also it looks like they brush it up pretty good. Like you guys took care of all the sharp edges, it looks like.
Yeah. I harp on deburring. Just with my machinist background, I just harp on, for assembly processes and making sure the next individual who receives your part, isn't cutting themselves or
Mhm.
anything. So yeah, and I
And
have
then,
I have plans for these two runs, so I can. I mean, I have drawings and everything for these, so I
oh
can
wow.
send those off to whoever.
And do you oh, look at that. Okay. Wait, hold on for a second. Don't flip to the next one. The next one looks cool. Um, now, what about spot welding? Is that something you incorporate, or you just do pop rivets?
I haven't yet. I'm still trying to like I literally just picked up welding when I was told that I have to teach it. So like I'm just kind of working myself around MIG, and we tried to fire up some TIG this year, but
Oh,
we're
this is
terrible at.
different. This is spot welding is like just the tongues.
Oh yeah, I don't have that capability. I guess I could
Uh,
probably get that capability.
it's
But
worth it because there's no skill involved. It's like pinchers, and then there's a
Okay.
yeah. So it's like a copper arm with a tab and a copper arm, and they line up, and it just goes like this. You press it, and then you hold the button, and it sends current through about 3 seconds. And then when you're done, you then have a spot where the sheet metal is, one.
It
Okay.
holds, it holds pretty well too. We have one at school, but we have the foot pedal. So we
Oh, that's even better. That's
yeah,
even better.
yeah, it welds it pretty good.
No kidding, Duke. You guys been using those, or you just have
Well,
it?
when I first started teaching like 20 years ago, they still have the equipment in the room. Like we used to make these thermometers.
Oh, really?
These are like sheet metal thermometers. We have the hems in the back,
Oh, look at that.
right? The hem in the back and the tab. So, like an exploded view, there was like 4 tabs. We just, used the brake to bend them and then cut off the tabs. And then we drilled a hole on the top and bottom. That's where we got this little bracket. And we drill the holes in the bracket till we bend these
Oh, that's cool.
thermometers. So we do have a lot of the metal stuff in the shop again. We were talking last year about the battle bots. It'd be nice to make like a metal shell and incorporate battle bots into the curriculum as well. But I
Right.
used to make a scoop, and that's how we used to hold the handle to the scoop part, like a
Oh,
flour
yeah.
scoop or a rice scoop.
Yep.
We spot welded them.
Nice. Almost
So
like the dustpan project. I've done that.
yep, good enough for a middle school student to use.
Yeah, totally. How you
That's
doing,
my
Tim?
extent of welding. Spot welder.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys? Been first time, long time. Wang, wang.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's good you're joining us. Yeah, we're just kind of going around talking about projects from the year, stuff you guys are finishing up, and then I wanted to pick Evan's brain a little about sheet metal. So we're looking at his sheet metal projects.
so I got a question for Evan while he's, while you have him on. How did you approach the teaching the welding if you've never done it before? What was your approach with the students? Like, were you totally like, I've never done this before, we're all learning, or did you play the let's just go ahead and do this card?
Yeah, so I'm really honest with them, just about my skill level in general and where my skill lies and all that. Just because I think it helps a lot with just the trust factor in with your students, which we know just relationship building is really important with the kids. And so honestly, I really researched, the major safety aspects of what we were doing and just made sure I was aware of that. And then also, I mean, I have a couple students that have grown up in the shop and can work their way around. And so, I leaned on them for a little help, and I was laying beads after school and trying to just get the basics. And I mean, we're not really doing a lot. We're really just laying beads and trying to get an intro to the machine and whatnot. So yeah, we're kind of just piddle paddling through it. So
That's cool. That's a good question, Tim.
Yeah, I've played the card both. I played both sides of that card in terms of, you know, being really honest with the kids, saying I've never done this before, and then the other side of it, just playing it off as in, yeah, I know enough about it to teach it. And part of the problem is you got to make sure that if you play that card, you don't get called on it, because if that does happen, then you lose all your credibility, and then there's problems there. Then the whole other issues start coming up from that too.
yeah,
So unfortunately, some of those cards I tried, but it was when I was early in teaching. And of course, you're trying to learn a dynamic, you're trying to learn classroom management, you're trying to learn classroom control and all that stuff too. But, you know, so if you're more of a veteran, it's easier to play the inexperienced card, you know, and try to hide it. But I've also learned it's just totally easier to say, listen, I've never done this before. We're all going to learn together. And I've been playing that card with the epoxy. A lot of kids are doing the epoxy pours and the epoxy cutting boards and things like that. And I'm telling the kids, listen, I've never done this, but we got to make sure we're following the instructions. And even that's hard when you're trying to tell the kids, follow the instructions, read the instructions. If it says mix for 5 minutes, don't mix for 3, mix for 5, and make sure you don't over mix, because all that matters.
hey, and
Yeah.
Tim, you, like that is teaching in itself right there, though. I mean, we're not gonna be we're not gonna know everything that ever comes across the shop, and there's gonna be kids that want to do projects that we've never done before, and the power lies in, hey, I don't know, but we're gonna figure it out. And so I mean, I believe that that's where the learning actually happens, because when they leave our space and they encounter a problem, you know, are they going to have the skill level that they learned from us to just, you know, get down to it and figure out how to get it done?
Yeah, this kind of brings up a really good topic, actually, Tim, is that in a way, sometimes you're teaching process. So like when I was doing the electric car, I didn't know everything, but I knew to lay out all the steps and then I wanted to verify each step. So like I taught them to lay out all the pieces that go in the car and make all these, all these relay decisions. We laid it out on a bench. And once it's on the bench, everything was labeled and you had to confirm. I was like, okay, wire A is going from terminal 1 to terminal 2. Do you confirm? And they check it, confirmed. I go, okay, I confirmed it too. Okay, wire B is going, and we would go together and we would just do it together on a bench and look at the diagram on the thing. And, I could have been like, of course, put that wire over here. I know that like the back of my hand, and I don't. And I wasn't sure. And, and then with welding, you can kind of control it a little. I mean, don't get me wrong, I got your back. If you ever want to learn welding or you want anything, even advice over the phone, that goes for Evan, Duke, and Tim, no problem. Like, I got your back. And also, I am not the best welder. I just, I go step by step and I do little controlled experiments to get better. But that's a good question. I mean, yeah, it's kind of like process. Keep it, I would say, keep controlled. And then this way, yeah, you can be totally honest. Be like, hey, we're running an experiment, but you got to document everything. I don't know. That's what I would say.
Well, I'm doing that with some kids right now with in my electronics class. I gave some pretty good kids an RGB LED that has the the green, red, green, and blue LEDs with the 4 prongs on them. And I gave them those LEDs and I forced them time upon time. I said, you got to breadboard the circuit. You got to breadboard the circuit. You got to breadboard the circuit. And like you said, confirm that it works. Make sure that it works. Get the pattern you like to work and then go from there. And when the kids are now starting to solder this together, I said, I have enough LEDs. Make sure that you keep your breadboard together, because if you have to problem solve it, you can go back to the breadboard and say, okay, well, I did this. Where is it, falling in? And then we can take what we soldered and plug it into the circuit and see if that is working or not. And that is, like you said, important in terms of trying to problem solve.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, for instance, okay, we're doing a wind tunnel now. And I've never done a wind tunnel before. And, but I just said to the kid, I said, hey, just build it as simple as possible. Well, of course, the kid goes off the deep end and he's already trying to put straws in the back of the one inlet so he can, like, I guess the laminar flow, and I'm like, dude, that's last. Does the thing even have a structure? Can we get a car in there? So it's obviously miniature, but what kids do is they always want to skip ahead. They always want to skip steps. They don't never want to confirm, and they never want anything to have nothing is stable or based. And it's like, dude, that's what we're there for. We're kind of like a coach. Maybe the coach doesn't know how to win the championship. They certainly know how to get there, type of thing.
That's even in the woodworking realm, and I'm sure it's even with the metalworking realm, especially with sheet metal. You make those pattern developments on paper and then make it out of metal. And even if the kid is working on something in woodworking, you're going to say to them, make it out of poplar before you make it out of mahogany, or let's test it in a piece of mahogany on a scrap piece before we go ahead and do it on your final project. And
Totally.
it's sometimes they don't understand that process, that you have to make some samples before you make the final piece, because you can make your adjustments. And it's the breadboarding is just as important in the development of a circuit as it is making the paper model and the sheet metal development.
Totally.
That's
So
the same,
yeah, go ahead, Duke.
same as like sanding. The kids will sand forever. They're like, is this good? I'm like, nope, keep sanding. They're like, is this good? Nope, keep sanding. Then they come to smile ear to ear because they know it's good. They're like, is it good? And then you're like, yep, because they know. Same as like filing. Is it filed enough? Am I done? Nope, keep filing. But then they know, they're proud, and they're like, look at this. And I'm like, there you go. Move on.
I never had. Oh, go ahead, Tim.
I was going to say, then you get the other side of the coin where they just go right through the grits and they're like, I'm done. And you're like, oh no, you got to go back, and then they're like, oh, what do you mean you got to go back? It's fine enough. Like, nope, not enough.
You know what? You put new sandpaper in the bin, then they'll go back and do it again, as long as the sandpaper's new.
Oh, that's a trick. That's a shop teacher trick.
Yeah.
It's funny. I didn't have shop class growing up, but I had a half a year of fourth grade shop. That was about it. And the guy used to say, we would sand these little cars. He would say, smooth as a baby's bottom. And I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I knew a guy that said that too.
And we all would do the same thing. You go, am I done? Am I done? No, you're not done. Smooth as a baby's bottom. All right, getting back to let's say hi to Roy. He's in the house. How you doing, Roy? Probably looking for his unmute button. And are you there?
Well, Tim, back what you were saying about, do you tell the kids you're learning too, or you just pretend it? I had a shop teacher that told me you only have to be one step ahead of the kids. But
in some cases, true.
We are technology education teachers. We can't learn all this technology, at the same time. So you tell the kids, we're going to learn this together. If you're going to incorporate new technology into the curriculum.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Sometimes you have to be flat out honest.
Yeah.
Like when I was teaching Tinkercad last year and during the pandemic, it was trying to stay a day or two ahead. And I flat out told them, this is my first time doing this. And especially doing it remotely was difficult. So
then you
know what? Yeah, go ahead. Dude.
You hope for that one kid that says, oh, I've done this before.
Yeah.
It's rare.
Also,
yeah, you're right.
I find you get a lot of buy-in and enthusiasm when I ask them, like, hey, okay, we're gonna run an experiment. I want your opinion. And all of a sudden, their eyeballs look straight at you, and they're like, they can't believe they're being asked their opinion. You know, what teacher's asking their opinion? You know, besides on some stupid test or whatever. So let's get back to Evan for a sec. Evan, you still there?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
I have no idea if you guys can see me or not.
No, we can't. We can't see you. You're a box that's talking right now.
Hey, so people are talking, and I'm like shaking my head in agreement, and it's like, and I'm thinking like, there's no way. I don't know if they even see me.
No, we're just looking at a box.
All right. So here's
look at this, man. Dimples.
Yeah, here's another just kind of like desk caddy with some pen holders and a little drawer.
That's badass.
So I haven't done this one full class yet. This is kind of like just kind of when we're in sheet metal stuff. This is like an advanced deal that I'll give some students with like some plans and whatnot, and just tell them to just follow the plans and do your best. Really, kind of just a challenging project. But I'll probably in the future I'll probably make this a full class deal. I don't know. It depends on how much time we spend on stuff.
Where'd you get those dies? Is that like an aviation catalog or something like that?
I'm not sure. I didn't buy them. They came with the program. Keep in mind it's only my second year here, so there's I'm finding stuff every day.
Yeah, that's kind of, it's funny that the shop teacher thing. If I would give any advice to supervisors, they really need to overlap the shop teachers, and the problem is they don't. So you get a shop teacher that's smart, and they set up the next generation before retiring with a lot of equipment, and they clean up the place. But then the new guy comes in, and he doesn't even know where anything is because they never met. Oh yeah, that's funny. Roy said it doesn't stop. Wait, let me just do a sound situation right now. Evan, for whatever reason, your sound keeps popping. Is there like maybe you're banging against the mic or something? I'm not sure.
That could be. I'm on my iPad, so it was like in my lap. Is it still happening?
Yeah. I don't know what you could do about it, but if you could figure out a way to not make it click or something, I don't know. It's not the worst thing, but I'm just noticing. So Roy was saying, wait, how come we don't hear Roy? Oh, your sound's on now. Let's see. Go ahead. Kinda.
Hold on.
Oh, that's better.
Oh, okay, perfect. Let me close the door.
It's not great, but it's better. Roy was saying he's doing 6 years and he's still finding stuff in the shop. Me too.
I found soldering equipment the other day. I thought that it was tints for repair. So I saw this box years ago, and it looked to me like pigment for touch up and repair.
Roy, you're still kind of muffled. I don't know what's going. Yeah, I don't know what's up with your sound. Maybe you got to unplug and plug back in or something. I'm not sure. All right, he's gonna handle that. And Evan, I don't know what you did, but the photo is way better. Okay, not anymore. It was zoomed in. We're having all kinds of tech issues tonight, but it's gonna work. This is cool though. Like, what a cool project you're doing, Evan. Oh, there we go. Here's the next one. Ooh, those are different types of rivets, right? Okay, he's getting it sorted out.
Is the clicking still there?
It's so much less. So,
Okay.
like, almost gone completely, actually.
Okay, so I will wrap up then, since I'm having issues. But no, this is like a
no. I think the clicking's gone now. I don't hear it at all now.
Okay, sweet. So this is like our sheet metal riveting kind of final project after we get through it. Those are machine like solid rivets. So using a rivet gun with dies and like a bucking.
Oh, okay. You like compress them and everything.
The connecting the ones that are connecting the tabs are just pop rivets. But yeah, just like a dice. Yep. So a dice fun project. I got plans for that. Let's see. Oh, here would be video. The young
Oh,
lady dice that she made.
nice. Are those brass or copper or something like that?
I'm not sure. I think they're aluminum, but I'm
Okay.
not sure.
They look a little different.
Let's see here. What else do I got in here? Drawings.
Oh yeah.
Here's some Titans of CNC stuff, and then like some water jet stuff.
Mm. Oh,
Uh,
run CNC. That's great.
yeah.
Oh,
Just
that's cool. Those look like they belong on an airplane or something.
yeah, kind of just like a riveting project there, and then plasma cutter, go Hawks.
Oh yeah.
And here's
Seattle
like just
Seahawks.
a little tray with some angles on it and rivets.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, I got a teacher in my district, Kevin Witt. I, I think I'm right that he's actually a Seahawks fan. He would die if you sent him that. He would love that.
All right. And then yeah, just some drawings and such. But
This is cool. Nice. And do you have them cut it out and fold it up, or do you have them go for it?
so hold on a second. Sorry. All right, I'm back.
Okay. Yeah.
So all right. So I do cardboard.
Yeah, man.
Like
Right here.
cardboard prototypes. The cube, actually, the dice I had them do on paper because it was just 1-to-1 scale. It's just 4x4. So I had them do it on paper, like on some graph paper, then cut out the tabs and everything. And they had to, before they got approved to get their sheet metal and lay that out, they had to show me the dice and show me that all their numbers were on the right side and everything was equally spaced. So yeah, there's kind of the
Nice.
sheet metal stuff. And then we just wrapped up the arcade project, which is on the Instagram. So that was a big project, a 6-week long project where we partnered with our video game design program, our
Oh, cool.
IT and cybersecurity program, and then composites, and then my class. And so groups of about 10, they all built arcades from scratch. So video game design basically came up with the game and the theme, and then we had the build teams do basically a business proposal to video game design, and the video game kids got to choose who they were going to work with. And we had them communicate and through like Google Drive and Messenger, and it was really just kind of like a real intro to what it would be like to work in industry and working in different departments. And so yeah, 6 weeks, and got the cabinets built, and then IT took it and did all the cable management and the hard drive and the motherboard and all that. And then we had an evening where the families got to come and play their games and see them. And then they did presentations. So that was kind of our culminating project for the year.
This is awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, this is exciting. Like bringing arcades back, man. This is cool.
How'd you make the games? Did you like use a program to code them?
So that is not my side of the house, but they definitely, they did all the programming, and yeah, they're games built from scratch. So
But it was done in school though. Still.
yeah, yep,
Yep.
it was done in the video game design program that's at our skill center, and so yeah, they came up with the theme. They had their groups had like environmental engineers for like the background. They had sound designers so they like made the sounds for the game. Yeah, I mean they designed everything from what the game was going to do, the type of I think they had some guidelines, but yeah, pretty much, yeah, they designed them. So
It's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. I've always
What's
wanted to do that because there's 2 tech ed teachers. So there's normal. There used to be 2, one for each classroom. We always talked about do the designing part in one classroom and then the building part in the other. But
I would like to do something across schools, but I think it's difficult. Like Imagine trying to coordinate that. But if someone wanted to do something that just gave me an idea. That's actually a really good idea. Maybe we could do something. Yeah. Maybe we could do something together. Like, someone does something, and the way to share it would be on Onshape, because it's like a open, it's like a, it's like SolidWorks, but web based. You don't need anything. It's free. You just go on. If you make it public. If it's private, you got to pay the file.
I mean, we easily could. I think collaboration is huge. I mean, because that's what they'll experience once they get to industry. We could all do some type of challenge and start at the same time and then have presentations, and the kids could think about it like new age pen pals, right? I mean, 'cause
Yeah.
we're all over the place. Kids could connect with each other and make friends and all that.
So Roy said that there's 2 IT security teachers, that's a good topic. I think that should be mandatory. People learning about IT security. And then he said that it's in their county that co-teach from different schools. What do you mean by that, Roy? I guess like.
I changed the microphone. Is it better?
Oh, way better.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've never sat in their classroom and I've never seen their presentation. I've just heard about it from our district, our county rep for CTE. It's the Riverside County Office of Ed. But I know that there's a teacher in Moreno Valley, which is in Riverside between Los Angeles and San Diego, and another one that's somewhere in the county. And they hit it off at conference. And so they'll go live for lecture, and then their students are working on a server or a few servers that are at the county office. And so they're broken up into teams. Of course, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but somehow there are a few students from one program, a few students from another. When one teacher is lecturing to both classes, the other teacher is supporting students either virtual desktop or in the classroom. They have a giant display where there's like the teacher teaching and the classroom cameras. So it's this like 2 separate spaces that exist in one space. I think you just have to find the 2 teachers that are willing to put up with each other's, attitudes and, preferences and classroom management styles.
So is it that one, like, I'm so sorry. Let me try and follow this. So just imagine you're saying that you got a classroom, there's 2 classrooms, and then one teacher is teaching both of them while the other teacher is dealing with the IT. Is that what's going on?
Yeah. So like, imagine having a class of, instead of having 26 or 24, right, having 48, which is manageable in some ways, not in what most of us teach, right? But if you were doing just the project prep, right? So let's say we were all going to make the same project. Obviously, I don't think that I want to manage 48 kids in a shop, right? That's never going to work, right? But 48 kids drafting, or 48 kids doing a lesson for bill of materials or plan of procedure, right? That's probably doable, right? Especially if there's someone who can go walk to the student that he knows needs the support, right? Because you by the time they're probably full deployment on this, they already know that Joe needs help, just finding the ribbon or the tool for whatever thing, right? Or maybe I need to talk to the aide for the special ed kid or something, right? But both teachers are managing their own classroom. But the teacher not actively lecturing is managing both virtually and the classroom, whichever it needs to be. Again,
wow,
it is their space, right? It's IT security, so I'm sure that they are much faster than we are at some of these things. But when I heard about that, I thought it was really cool. It wouldn't even need to be that big to be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that's one way of doing it. And then, I don't know, that wouldn't work for me, because I think, I don't know, maybe it would. I don't know. But that's cool that that's happening. And how did they come up with that, or the district encourage them? Like, how'd that happen?
So there's two ways to be a teacher in Riverside County for shop. One is that the district picks you up, and you're like a regular English teacher, right? You have a teachers union, you participate in that. The other way would be that the county leverages other funds so that they can be competitive, pulling people out of industry, right? So how do you pull a a sergeant or a chief out of a firehouse, right, who's planning on retiring in 10 years? How do you pull them out of their career if you don't take into consideration their years of service? So like, imagine if you try to put someone who's making 6 figures in a classroom, but you're going to pay them, year one schedule, right?
Yeah.
Here's $48,000. They would just say, they would laugh and say, no, that sounds like fun, but no, thank you.
Yeah.
So the county has the ability, because they're outside of that, to kind of maneuver it. It's not perfect, but for the example I just gave, it's pretty damn good.
The county.
There was one thing that we did. If I shared my screen, that was cool. It was during distance learning. And I feel like this is something that we could all do. And the way we would do it is just pretend that it's live. So, because that's what I did.
All right.
So there's an organization.
This is the best part about the Shop Class podcast is that, I wouldn't have heard this idea. This is it's good sharing this stuff.
So AWFS is, I'm going to totally butcher their acronym. It's the same conference I may have talked about a year ago where I took students to Vegas. So they're out of Anaheim, California, over by Disneyland. And
this is a woodworking conference.
Yeah, woodworking, furnishing suppliers. But this model could be picked up by anybody. So Let me see if I can make this big.
Yeah, do it.
And then I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to skip around.
Yeah,
so they had an introduction. And that introduction was, hey, here is this facility where students like you could work. And we're going to be talking to the director of manufacturing, and then a business owner that has the same sort of business. So what I did, because I knew my kids would be too shy, is we recorded Flipgrid. So there was a promo video, right, of like, this is what we do at the facility. And then there were 2 gentlemen that are in the top right-hand corner. And then Adria is the one that put it all together. But what I did is I just had my kids film a Flipgrid so that instead of being live in the video conference, this organization just played the video.
Right? Oh, okay.
So if I find one, here we go. So this is a kid named Antoine Byers, but he was, it's distance learning. We're all at home. I know that this guy would not have turned on his camera if we had tried to do this live. He would have clammed up. It's just because, a 9th grade boy, like, that's a lot to ask.
Wait, are you guys still on COVID distance learning?
No. I'm saying that how in the world do woodshop teachers do what 2 IT teachers did?
Oh,
right?
I got it.
We'd have to slow it down a lot. We'd have to film the question, right? And then just push it into the video and then tell all of our kids it's live. Right?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I have the kids record videos, short videos, because they're super shy. They don't want to do it,
But this was pretty cool. So, how do we teach? How do I have my students interact with your students? Well, it's probably we could probably even do a shop class podcast where we just kind of curate it and answer the questions for students that participate. Like if they did like how Evan Thomas was talking about pitching it to the computer science or the engineering teacher or their students. If we shared their curriculum here, right, or their project here, the students could get feedback from a whole bunch of shop teachers on Wednesday night. And that's, it's not even something
that's
they have to
awesome.
log in. That would be fun. That's what that was. And I want to do it again because it was super cool. And it was
That's
very
a great
low.
idea.
It was super convenient.
Greg Curran, he's the guy who was on here recently about he's a coordinator in San Diego. You're not in San Diego, right? You're in LA.
I'm close enough. Yeah, I'll be in San Diego 3 weeks this summer.
Oh, well, but he's a coordinator over there for shop teachers, and I guess that's his position or whatever. And he wants to do like some sort of shop class podcast during the day. And we tried one, not really shop class podcast, but just getting his like one of his district's teachers with an electric race car talk to my students. But it's hard because if they're not on the same project, context is a big problem with kids. They don't, their head doesn't, they're like, what is that? They just get crazy. And so they don't really get it. But if they were working on it, I think they would pay attention.
Greg cut through a lot of that because there were students that still did the stuff that they're going to do. And I just didn't send those videos.
Perfect.
There were students that asked, like, they just read the example questions. There was a student that wore funny clothes. There was, just all sorts of nonsense, but I only needed like 4. And so out of, 70 kids enrolled, 50 some odd kids participating, 30 kids taking the assignment seriously, 4 was easy to get. So,
gotcha.
And if you think about,
go ahead.
If you think about the amount of time frame that you even have for them to pay attention to, right? So let's say 30 kids take it seriously, like they have to make a video. It's whether or not it's good, they took the assignment seriously. What's their threshold for watching, right? To see if they got picked. Maybe 7 to 12 minutes at most. But now they have the entire lesson, right? 7 minutes is more than enough time to get feedback that would benefit them even if you didn't pick their video.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. Cool. That's good. Well, maybe we could try something. As you know, we do, car stuff, and maybe we could coordinate some sort of project. I don't know. I would say we just start with something small and see how it goes. I'm a big fan of like steps. You just start with some step, and then there's some unanticipated problem that you can't even think of. So, you go in increments, Cool. That's awesome. So let's see. Well, we're basically wanted to highlight people's end of the year projects and whatnot. Evan, was there anything else you wanted to show us before we move to another person?
Not really. I'm all good to pass the buck.
Okay. Cool. All right, Roy, you wanna talk to us about some of your projects? Because I know you kind of like, it's cool. You do these furniture projects. You take it to shows. You're kind of like a competitive teacher, which, and you're humble. So you're probably like, no, but you totally are. So let's see the fruits of your labor with your kids this year. All right, he's pulling it up. I can tell he's pulling it up.
So I went to share it, but all of my share screens look exactly the same. So did I just share you guys? No, I didn't. Cool.
Oh, there we go.
This isn't the entire show or student showcase, but these are the 5 students that are.
Can you zoom in?
Yeah.
Sorry.
These are also the 5 students that are getting like student awards.
Oh, wow.
So these are just some 12th graders that are getting student awards. California led in school shutdowns. So I had some of these kids out for 2 years.
Oh my God.
And so we're doing pretty good. This is the Wood 2 project, as streamlined as I can ever make it.
Still good. I mean, it's a nice side table. And a little
There's
coffee
nothing
table.
to complain about. It was just so much work. It would be that I would know that I needed to simplify, right? And that I needed to streamline, and that if I was going to have them do something extra, it would be that I was supporting their progress in a lecture, right? So like I wanted to teach case goods, And so we turned one table. It's not presented because he didn't win another senior award. But when we got to the point where we were putting in like a plywood shelf into his table, that I just did it so I could teach the dado stack, which is just table saw blades that you gang up, you run to create a groove or a big dado.
Thicker,
and then
right? So it's like,
yeah.
Okay.
So I just did an introduction to case goods with his project.
I'm sorry.
You know,
Wait, forgive me. What are case goods? What does that mean?
so like something that would have a door or a drawer, something that's
Oh,
different than a
see.
table. So
Yeah, like a
he didn't have
cabinet or a piece of furniture.
Oh, okay. I'm learning. I don't know. You
So
guys know
these
the lingo.
tables are basically just simple frames that are butt jointed together with a dowel or a biscuit or a domino, or you could even use pocket hole screws. It doesn't really matter how you do it. We use dominoes, which are just slip tenons. But so a lot of this kind of table, my 11th and 10th graders have more time, so their tables are a little bit more exciting, but only because like I need to get these out the door, and 12th graders start to lose steam. Today I broke. I was making a replacement piece of glass for a 12th grader, so I could put it in it's at the end, and oh yeah, it was just like it exploded. And some of the students that were watching me thought I did it on purpose, which obviously I don't have time to do it on purpose. So I didn't, but one of the students that was inside that picture got done quite a while ago. So he was on the lathe making an acacia bowl.
Acacia?
So again, weird. Acacia's, have you ever heard of that fancy wood from Hawaii called koa?
You're talking to the wrong. I'm like the metal guy. Timmy, you know this Okoa?
What was this?
That's
Remember,
that's a different kind of wood. That was a
monkey
monkey wood.
So have you ever seen a tree at a golf course with lots of yellow flowers to just make all sorts of nonsense pollen?
Oh, yeah.
As long as it wasn't
every tree.
No, not pine tree. So if it wasn't a pine tree, it's probably acacia. They've also got some acacias that have like green bark, but that's not this. So it's just a dark wood.
Zoom in for us.
Yeah, I don't know how well you can see that or not.
Zoom it in. Just crank it
I'm
up.
trying.
you buy that at the local lumber yard?
No,
Common in California.
this
Like
got pulled out of a golf course in California.
Oh, okay. Looks nice.
It's a tropical and subtropical species. Native to
Not
tropical,
Seattle.
yeah, native tropical and subtropical regions. I mean, so that's what it's saying.
Look, Timmy, it's a well.
It's a pig.
Don't bring up the whale.
Roy, there's an inside joke here.
What is it?
I'm not talking about the whale. No.
We'll stay as PC as possible, but he showed us something and I just died.
It's very phallic.
And he didn't mean to. It was my fault. I was tired and I just started crying. It was so funny.
It's sort of caught
When
up
we make
off guard.
That's my biggest concern when students are designing their own skateboard. I'm just like, I need you to take a step back and look at this again.
Oh, a skateboard?
Yeah, because they want to put shapes, and and it always, I don't know, 50% of the time it's yeah. I've got this interesting thing where so we have all these students that are in Wood 2 by name only. And so we did the second project in Wood 1. We did the third project next, right? So those are their first two projects, which made for really interesting problems, right? Because kids didn't have any experience with certain machines. And so now we're getting to the back end of the class. They're finished drawing or project planning for their Wood 2 table. we have some filler time, and so now we're doing the instruction from the beginning of the year for those that are not finishing their hat rack, because we need to get to panels, we need to get to glue ups and larger projects. So we just skipped over that first sculpture, and although I enjoy the first sculpture, I didn't think it was that important. And it turns out it's pretty important because they just don't know how to do anything. And then it matters, right? It's because they're making something that's supposed to look like everybody else's.
Oh, interesting. So this is a intro project, and you found that you deleted it, but it turns out you actually need it. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe I just miss it. Or maybe
No, I know
just
what you're saying. I know what you're saying because I've done some things where I'm like, oh, we just forget it. We just don't have time, and we skip over it. And then later, I'm like, all right, just measure that thing, and they're like, what measure? And I'm like, all right, let's do the first project. You know, so like it happens all the time. You know, it's hard to skip ahead, and also if you've done it a bunch of times, like you already know that what the kids need. So if you start skipping, you have to play with your lessons and your sequence. I think it's good to rip it up and try new stuff, but at the same time, if stuff works, keep it. That's benchmarked. Now you got to add to the end of it. You can't pull it out, you know. What do you got here? Oh, cool. Did you guys go somewhere?
Yeah, we did this overnight field trip where we go and make a project in someone else's shop, which if you guys can figure out, it's pretty cool. And then sitting at conference, someone was telling me how they partnered with, well, they were telling the audience how they partnered with Canon. And so there was this one guy at Canon that's very interested in getting kids into the field with Canon camera equipment. And so he's getting them like courtside and at the 49ers games, like on the field, racetracks, just all sorts of crazy stuff because he's excited about getting the kids places that's valuable to them, right?
Wow.
Does that make sense?
This is outside the school?
Yeah, so they go on overnight field trips. So what I did is I found the full-time teacher at Cerritos College, which is in Los Angeles, a furniture maker, and then we went and visited a resort that's decorated in a very specific period of furniture that the full-time professor is a huge fan of, and then the furniture maker actually made for the resort 20 years ago. Whoa. So we were able to tour the resort. This is the beginning of the tour, where the professor's talking about this period of furniture and why it's important, while he's pointing at an example of it, which is really cool.
This is mind-blowing. I've never heard of anything like this. Have you guys done anything like this?
Yeah, we did something similar in 2020 in February, but I didn't find the same caliber of mentor or person to invite. I invited one of my mentors, which is he's the sort of person that if you sent him a spreadsheet of equipment, he would be able to rather quickly tell you what sort of draw you need on your dust collector, which is like the most expensive engineering that you can pay for. And to just like say, hey, Saul, is this going to be enough dust collection? Or hey, Saul, you know, I want to deploy, pneumatic sanders, is my output going to be enough? And he'll be able to just from the hip tell you, how, if it's going to run for 30 minutes or 150 minutes, just because he just has those tables and he manages a facility. Wow. In fact, he was the guest on that video I showed a couple minutes ago.
That's awesome.
If you guys can, I'm showing this because someone showed it to me, and I didn't take my kids to a 49ers game, right? But I feel like this is the same thing for woodshop. We also went to the NHRA museum.
Cool.
Did something similar in Pomona. See if I can find those photos. And so I just found two people that are excited about drag racing that also love woodshop.
That's cool. Okay.
And then they met us there, and then they just told us about, like racing cars on either Bonneville He races Bonneville, and then he grew up at the Pomona Speedway. His uncle is on the wall.
Oh man, you
He's
would have
just,
done.
I didn't know this. I just knew that he likes that. And so I thought, oh, hey, I'm going to be in the area. So I mentioned it to him, but his grandpa's or his great uncle's race car is actually in the photo in his background.
That's
So
amazing.
it's at the line on the strip or whatever.
Wow. You
I
would
kind
have
of just
loved.
got lucky.
Yeah, we did a episode with a Bonneville racer that has 30 records. I was in San Diego during spring break, and we did a live interview with him, and he builds the engines from scratch using heads from different vehicles and whatnot. Yeah, he's a good dude. You got to meet him. Peter Ardema and Kevin Braun. Yeah, but so basically going back to this, so you just pick out cool spots to go to, and you can pick and choose which students you want to take on a field trip.
So they're all 12th grade program completers. I call it job shadowing because there's such a liability. Like, can you imagine just like shoving a kid into a foundry or a cabinet shop? Let's say that everybody's excited about it, right? Like, I don't know. I would still feel uncomfortable about it, and maybe that's just because I'm protective, or just I've worked in cabinet shops and I've worked out in trade, and so there are things that like they're not the same for a high school kid. So instead, I try and find a place that will let us either job shadow or work, and then it's really like it's just a packaged insulated thing. So we made stools.
Oh, so how long does that take? A day or 2 days or more?
This was a 3-day field trip. So 2 nights, 3 days.
Wow, that's really cool. I didn't even think that was a possibility. So you're out for 3 days?
I do it over spring break. So spring break, we have another week off, and then I bill extra duty. So
I didn't even know that was a possibility. This is pretty cool.
Ask. You want me to send you there's a teacher in Ventura that
it kind of makes sense because there's sorry, go ahead. What did you say?
I just scanned all of the paperwork. It's like, I don't know, 50 pages of just things I turned in 6 months in advance.
No, but it makes sense because there's teachers that on spring break go to Greece or the exchange programs and then their vacation is paid for because like airplane, everything, because they're the chaperone. So it's like they're working for free, but they don't have to pay to go to Greece. I don't know. There was a bunch of English teachers that did this a while back.
There's liability in it, and it's not all peaches, and it's a real bummer if it gets in trouble, right? Because it's like times 10, and you're calling your principal on spring break, it can be something that's a bummer because they're still high school kids. They're still going to do stupid things, even though they would never do it in your classroom. Like, give them enough time.
Yeah. I used to go on when I first got there, one of the things that could give you some job security was if you did class management, what was it called? Like the class coordinator person or whatever, and you do the fundraising. But part of that was that when it came to either prom or pre-prom or whatever, I don't know, the night before, I don't know. Oh, after prom. Was it after prom? I don't know. They would go from prom and then they would go straight to overnight in Dave and Buster's the whole night. And so you would stay up with them all night. And the idea was that they're not going to go out drinking afterwards.
Yeah, it's like a post-prom party.
Yeah, they call it, I don't know, it was a lock-in or something. I can't remember. But if we did this, then they're not going to go drinking. But then you have to be up all night watching these idiots, And I say that with, as make fun of them. But it's like, it's kind of like, it's good and it's fun, but it's also like, you got to watch them because like they're going to find a way to cause a problem. Yeah, exactly.
They
But
do
that's-
that with our graduation. They do project graduation.
That's it. Project graduation. That's it. After graduation, there's a party so that they don't do something stupid on their own. Exactly. Right.
Can I step in real quick, Ron?
Yeah, please.
Hey, so I got to run, but I appreciate this platform so much. I have learned every single time I've been here, I've learned something very cool that I want to add to what we got going on. So every Wednesday that I'm available, I will see you guys at 5 p.m. my time.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. And you bring a lot to the table. I love the sheet metal and your enthusiasm.
Where are you? Evan?
What's that?
Where are you?
I'm in Seattle. Well, south of Seattle, about an hour south of Seattle.
And he does machining.
Seattle Sonics.
He does machining and he comes from the aviation world. So Evan doesn't realize it, but I'm going to pick his brain a bunch when it comes to machining. So
I'm still just learning the teaching stuff, but yeah, Roy, I'm a machinist by trade. Just recently started teaching a couple years in. But yeah, I mean, it's an intro program I run. I mean, we touch on a lot of different stuff: machining, sheet metal, welding, additive manufacturing, 3D modeling, CAD, CAM, so you name it, we try to get into it. So
You said 5 p.m. So I was like, wait a minute, you're not on the East Coast?
yes, Seattle. But I will see you guys when I do. Hey, appreciate the time.
all right. Take it easy. See you
All right.
later, Evan. And just like that, we got Mark Willie.
Just like that.
I haven't seen Evan since high school. Holy cow.
Evan called in the relief pitcher. And look what we got.
I got a rubber arm. What's going on, Tim?
Yeah.
What's up, Mark? Been a while.
Yeah. Are you guys all still teaching or is summer break starting?
Oh,
No, we're still teaching.
Still
Yeah.
teaching.
I got another month.
Another month?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got. I'm actually out pretty early. I'm June 21st is my last day.
June 10th.
Oh, what?
Yeah, June 10th, too.
Wait, when do you guys start?
August 1st.
Oh, I don't start. I go after. We start after Labor Day.
No, we start like last week of August.
Oh, Roy's out of June 2nd. That's it. Woo! What is that?
We would have been
think
out June. We would have been out like June 3rd or something if it wasn't for the snow days.
Yeah, same thing
Okay.
here.
They tacked on the snow days the following week.
I don't know if we had any snow days this year. I can't remember.
Isn't it funny how we keep track of snow days but not COVID days?
Yeah. It's so silly, the whole thing. And what is a snow day anyway? Why don't they just do a virtual day? I mean, I guess a snow day's fun because I snowboard, so I get out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Leave
Oh.
snow days alone.
Yeah. Do you Roy doesn't have snow days. This guy's in Southern California. Do you have hot days?
Yes.
You do, right? A day off, it's too hot?
No.
Oh.
No, because the kids would come to school because there's air conditioning.
Oh. You
What
have
They
air
have cases
conditioning.
where they'll shut down PE if the air quality index crashes, it goes really bad and it's too hot. Oh yeah.
We don't have air conditioning. I'm lucky I'm in the basement. My shop's kind of in a basement with a side door. And because of that,
You guys don't have air conditioning in New Jersey?
No, not in my shop. My shop is too big. My shop is too big to have air conditioning.
Oh, it's a shop class.
Oh,
Okay.
I got the chillers right behind my shop. He goes.
I thought you meant at the
fun to go
school.
through. It's
Well,
beautiful.
Duke, so you no AC?
No, I got the chillers right in the back of my classroom.
Oh wow, okay.
So I'm the first one to get hit. It's
Oh, I
always chilly in
gotcha.
my room. I love it.
That's funny.
Ron, can you keep that side door open in your school or no?
Yeah, I leave it all the time. We did it today. It's beautiful. The sun comes in. It's nice.
Oh, they would. Oh no, we can't do that. We can't open doors. Not allowed to
What?
do that.
I know you have got some strange rules. Well, I also break anything they say to do. I just kind of break it, and then I get in trouble. I get in trouble about twice or 3 times a year. You know, I mean, I don't mean to do anything, but it happens.
You know what I got in trouble for the past couple times? Past month.
Watch out, we're recording, Tim.
Yeah.
Oh, this is easy. This is
All
simple.
right.
I
Let's
got
hear
in
it.
trouble for playing the music too loud in my classroom in the morning.
Oh, they would love me at your school. I have a guitar with an amp. We just we let it rip sometimes. Oh, look at the Mohawk passing by.
Yeah, the vice principal came by the one day and was like, do you think maybe you can turn that down?"
Oh, what is that? It's an Indian chief.
It's
Oh
Little
my-
Duke. Little Duke.
Yeah.
Saw him at the monster truck the other time, right?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's great. That's
Hey,
funny.
hey, Roy, you don't have the snow days, but don't you have the rolling blackout days? That's a real thing.
Yeah.
And we're running out of water here soon, so
Oh, they're finding bodies. Lake Mead is revealing all the 70s mafia kills.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you
For
heard
real?
about the rewards and the retired detectives that are working it?
Oh, I see. They incentivize it. So everybody's going out, getting in their boats and diving now, right?
I'm trying to think. I feel like they know of 25 more that they want to investigate. The last I read.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Hey, we all see you fellas. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
How funny would that be? Like some detective comes in and goes, can I open up this case from 40 years ago? You know.
Well, so we have our own version of Lake Mead. That would be the Meadowlands. I'm sure if the Meadowlands drained, you will find bodies in New Jersey. Are you kidding me?
And the Hudson River.
Oh, the Hudson River. My dad, who grew up in Manhattan, he said bodies would wash up all the time. You know?
Well, in Chicago, that's why the concrete business is so good.
Cement shoes, or they'd be part of the foundation.
It increases the margin, right? Less surface area.
Oh my God. Yeah. Where was Hoffa killed? Was that in Jersey or Chicago?
They don't know. Oh, no.
Of course, right.
No, we don't know.
Oh yeah, okay. Right, of course. Yeah.
I'm still supposed to say we don't know.
Yeah, I was trying to get you to reveal the truth.
Have you guys ever been to the Mob Museum in Vegas?
No, that sounds great.
They've got a cocktail bar downstairs,
What?
and it's like you're in a museum, right? There's a Tommy gun under like some glass at the bar. It's a distillery, and it's the cheapest place in town.
Oh wow, no kidding.
Yeah,
I got a
it's
buddy
so
who's got he's making a speakeasy in that style. He's a motorcycle builder. It's Speakeasy Motors, and so now it took a while for him to build it up, but now he's actually got like the old piano, and like he's got everything's like handmade, and it's kind of like a knock on the door type of place. I want to see if I can. Oh, here we go.
Walk in, it looks like a full-on shop, and then you move away the air compressor, and all of a sudden, okay.
Look at this place. That's like,
it's super cool.
yeah. Oh, this is how it started, I guess. Jeez. And then this is his like bar counter. You know, everything's like handmade. This is the place. It's in upstate New York.
That's super cool.
Yeah. Cool. So, you know, kind of off topic, but let's keep the topic rolling for a bit. Tim, you got some end of the year project, or actually, Roy, was there anything else you wanted to show us? Okay.
No, much the same. We're doing a lot of like prepping for next year's curriculum, which will be more on schedule.
Okay. Don't say that. Now it's jinxed, man. That's like that's like saying, there shouldn't be too much traffic, and then
I'm sure I have enough charge on my battery.
yeah, exactly. Don't say that. That's like the kids are like, I'm done. No. All right, Timmy. You want to show us some projects you guys finished up this year? Maybe, brag a little bit about your shop. I can share the screen if you want me to.
I just posted on my Instagram a bunch of stuff. Not that anything is super impressive in terms of complexity or final projects. This is just kind of the year-end stuff.
There's a good picture.
We've had it pretty. It's been a pretty rough year on my end. What are you sharing? Did you go?
Oh, my bad. I screwed up.
Oh,
there you go.
We've had a lot of kids just start stuff but not finish. That's my personal one. Go to my tech ed.
Oh, my bad. This is an elbow leaner, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You should have that for your students, Ron, who always have to push themselves around the room.
It's Zavaki Tech. Zavaki _ tech _ ed.
Okay. Gotcha. Bam. What's this?
That was an angled tabletop. I have a student working on that. We had to cut the angle and figure out how the table would end up going. And in a couple of pictures, you'll see the tabletop.
Well, that's cool.
I had a kid working on that.
How did you
done? That's been done for a while, but I just post pictures of it. So
how did you? Yeah,
we did all that we did all that inlay and engraving on the laser, and then I really burned it to get it really deep, and then he filled it with epoxy.
Oh, that's awesome looking.
Yeah, the top turned out phenomenal.
This is so cool. I would want that. That's fucking.
And then the problem we ran into with the student was when he did the sides, the red really bled. And
where's the red?
On the sides, he wrote "United we stand."
Oh, this is red, right?
Yeah, and it bled a lot. And with the epoxies, I'm still learning how to do a lot of this stuff.
Doesn't look like it.
Hey, Tim, have you ever clear coated it before you did the engraving? That way the surface is protected and you won't get the bleed out.
Yeah, but this was one of those we never did red before, and we never did this. So this was the first time we did it. So I'm learning, and I told the student that I'm learning how to do it.
Now, when you say it bled, what happened? It followed capillary effect, it followed one of the grains or something. Maybe that's what. Would that help? What Mark's saying? Seal it up a little bit.
If it's capillary,
I would
because that subsurface is what you're referencing, right, Tim?
Yeah, we would probably have to hit it with shellac, then fill it. But
so it penetrates.
Yeah. So the problem is this student, when they come up with this project, they want to jump on it. They want to jump on the next step immediately. So you can't. Sometimes you try to slow them down, but then they get ahead of themselves, and you're trying to think through the process. And by thinking through the process, they are already on the next step after you've thought about what you should really do. And sometimes you just let the kid do it, and then you say, "I told you so."
It's honestly the best way, because otherwise you get into a teenager argument. I find this is a high level of frustration when I was, as a younger teacher. So now what I do is it's a controlled failure. I know they're going to fail, and I'm like, hey, go for it. Because if you try and guide them, they might give they think you're giving them your opinion. But you're actually giving them a process. They don't realize that. So they go, no, I'm going to do it my way. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Okay. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to let them go, and sometimes you'll just say, "See, I told you should do this next." So, that was a box that's been done also a while.
Wait, let me just hit pause, Tim, for a second. Roy, do you do any laser engraving with epoxies?
we did some laser work this year, but I haven't bought any of that because until recently my kids just couldn't manage files. So we were just working in Google products so that they could manage the files. But one of my kids has a laser at home, so he engraved Zelda logo on his cutting board, and then we made some Beskar.
Did you say Zelda?
Yeah, and then
Is
he
that
made some
still a
Beskar
thing?
out of walnut. Yeah, I mean it's never gonna go away.
I
They're
played
just gonna
Zelda.
keep
I must have played
rephrasing
Zelda
it.
like when I was like 12 or something. I don't know.
My kid's playing it now.
Yeah, Zelda's big.
They just
Really?
keep on coming out with games.
That was the one game I didn't understand. I tried. I never understood what the purpose was. I still don't know what's going on.
Well, Zelda is the princess, if that helps, and
Oh.
Link is the guy with the sword.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Super Mario Brothers, straightforward. Just go to the right.
So let me preface the epoxy thing. I will not buy epoxy. The students, if the students want to do epoxy, they buy it.
Ooh, good move.
And then that way they're vested in it, not me. Because if you just say epoxy, then every kid will want to do epoxy, and then it's like epoxy nightmare spelt all over the place. So at least you tell the kids, if you're going to do it, if you want to do it, that's on you. You buy it. But the downfall is they buy these obscure epoxies that you've never heard of. And then every time you go to work with epoxy, no two epoxies are the same. Everybody's different. And that's a problem.
Got it.
Like, you'd want the kids to buy Total Boat, or you want the kids to buy Epoxy, but they're not going to spend $200 for a gallon of epoxy. So they buy.
What is it? I have known nothing about this. What would be like a common brand if I was starting out?
Top boat.
What?
Top boat.
Top Boat.
Total Boat.
Total boat. Yeah.
Oh,
Total Boat is probably the most popular one, but it's expensive.
That's
And
the
they have
one
too
Nick.
many-
That's the one Nick uses.
Yes, there's a lot of
And then
brands. There's a lot of
the,
different models.
Making Fun on Netflix. They were using it.
oh,
Yeah, I think they were sponsored by them.
It's Jimmy DeResta.
yeah. Have you been watching that show?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, and then there's deep pour, and then there's coat, and then there's moderate pour, and then there's all different types of things. And it almost gets too
Whoa.
too involved. And then like I had a girl do an epoxy table and it cracked. So the problem was she poured it too deep. It was just one of those things. It's just there's a lot of learning curve. Roy put a note in the comment that says, should I stay away from epoxy? No, I don't think you should stay away from epoxy. It's just you got to make sure you have the right epoxy for what they want to do. That's what
See,
I
this is
want.
what- this is one of those things we were talking about, like people from the industry and having like a mentor from the industry, because you can watch as many YouTube videos as you want on this, but you're not going to get like the hands-on teaching as you're going to get from someone that's professional. Like this is one of those things you can't stay one step ahead of the kids with this stuff because it takes a lot of figuring out on your own.
Well,
Yeah.
and then the other thing is if you put too much of one and not enough of the other, it screws up the mix. And you got to be measuring perfect. And that's one of those things. It's very finicky. Very finicky. And then you got to figure out, did you mix enough? Or are you mixing enough? And then what happens if I don't mix enough? So there's so many different factors that you got to try to figure out. And one epoxy does this, another epoxy does that, and there's a lot to learn.
This would be a good topic for the Maker Faire.
Oh yeah.
It's the
Even if-
difference between ice cream and custard, right? They're not all the same. This is pure chemistry. You're 100% right, Tim. It has to be specifically weighed and mixed their way, and over mixing is another problem. And at Duke, I've watched 1,000 videos, and the ones that I've done are horrible. Like they don't work. And I think someone could actually be like an Instagram, like get a lot of followers by showing the mess ups, because these people don't show the mess ups. I would say, Roy, if you're thinking about epoxy, Duke's right. Nick's done that before, and he seems pretty darn procedural.
Yeah,
Yeah,
procedural
so
is a good word. It really is. And I wish I had a means to say to a kid, buy this epoxy because I know how to use it. But the problem is everyone
The wrong
is
video.
different, and the other problem is there's kids that can't afford the good stuff and they can only afford the cheap stuff. And if you pour cheap stuff on top of good stuff and vice versa, you can't mix manufacturers. Oh,
I
It's
see.
nice.
This is
We
like.
use the
Oh, you know who
single-
knows? Sorry, you know who knows a lot about this would be Henry Ford. Not Henry Ford. Chris Davis from Henry Ford Woodworking.
yeah.
Sorry, Roy. Go ahead.
So in my program I use the it doesn't matter who makes it, but you know what I'm talking about, the syringe. It's really expensive. We only use it to stabilize knots, so that we're making a lower grade material, a higher grade, more suitable material for like a piece that's going to span or be involved in a tabletop. Like, because there's so much beautiful wood around a knot. But if the knot isn't included, right, if it's not a supported knot, then it's just like wasted wood. And so we'll stabilize that hole so we can go through joiners and planers without issue. So that's what I use. When I've done anything more or wanted a higher quality, we have a boat store out here called West Marine. And so they have a West Systems epoxy, which is probably very similar to this Total Boat. But that stuff's expensive. And my understanding is of the old qualities of epoxy, if you pour too large of a volume, the stuff can cook off and catch fire on its own.
Holy crap! Really?
Is the new stuff less?
It's a chemical reaction.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, I've heard of it catching fire before. And then the first place I heard of it and I believed it was there's a old dead guy named Paul Getty, and he's got some museums out in LA. And so there was this really good video on pouring epoxy to stabilize art. And the guy was saying that he lit a piece of art on fire because he tried to pour something that was 8 inches by 8 inches in a vacuum, and then he pulled it out so that he could stabilize a portion of I don't know if it was a sculpture, a piece of furniture that was 600 years old, but something that was dry rotted. And he just had the hardest time keeping it cold so that it would stop catching fire.
Wow.
You're talking about someone from the Getty Museum?
Yeah, I'll try and find the video right now. It's a really good video. It's like super academic, but after I watched that, I was just like, I'm going to pour this much epoxy for the rest of my life at a time. But my kids really want to do it.
The other problem I've run into is, and I've just learned this recently, like if you want to put, like I had a kid put coffee beans in epoxy and the coffee beans floated, and I was totally not expecting that, but which makes sense because you have to clamp the wood down to the project. But that project's not done yet, so that project will be coming up. I'm going to post that in a little bit when I get the project, when he gets done with the project. But so we put coffee beans in it, and all the coffee beans floated to the top, but then we top coated it, and actually doesn't look that bad.
Tim, that's like that guy that does the Star Wars ones, right? He glues down all the tchotchkes, if you will, and then does the layup from there. I guess it's like everything, right? The first couple of times you do it, you have so many disasters that you're now hypersensitive to all the things that can go sideways.
Yeah, and that's what I'm learning. I'm learning more than the kids are because of what goes sideways. And certain epoxies with certain pigments will float differently. It's really crazy.
Different solid content.
This worked out with my friend Dan.
Yeah, but I didn't pour that. Dan poured that.
He's done a little bit of. He does some epoxy work. He just never did it with wood, I guess, right?
As far as I know, this was his first.
Oh,
time.
you know what Dan did that was really cool? It was kind of like off topic from what we're doing here, but he does these epoxies. Yeah, he's been playing around. But something that he did, and he's not a shop teacher, but he's actually a psychologist by day. This is just his hobby on the side. But something he did that was super cool was the Tron Disc. He inlaid epoxy in a disc that he carved out of stone. And it's so good that it looks small here, but it's actually pretty. Here you go. Look how big that is. And he then wet sanded it, and it's on point. And you can light it from behind. And it came out killer.
Well, the other thing is the kids don't spend enough time sanding. That's the other thing too. The epoxy needs to be sanded like 2000 grit, wet sanded. It needs all that, and all that I'm learning. It's so finicky.
Yeah, and you can backlight a lot of this stuff. Like look how cool that came out, glowing like that. Yeah, this is a difficult thing to do because it involves like time and prep.
Tim, I see a lot of the guys using the router sleds to get it flat. Can you just run it through a router? I mean, a planer?
Yeah. What I've been doing is we actually have a portable dust collector. And what I've been doing is I've been taking the portable dust collector and running that planer. I disconnect the planer from the dust collector and then run the portable dust collector to get all the plastic dust because we don't really know where the dust goes. I mean, it knows it goes to a farm, right?
Oh.
But I'm trying to minimize how much of the plastic gets out into the environment.
You're saying, Timmy, your sawdust from the school gets picked up and goes out to the farm, so you keep that separate from your
Try to
your crap dust. Yeah, got it.
Try to. So go back to that one there, Ron. That one, that was the kid that used the coffee beans, but we didn't know how big that void was. We could have mathematically figured that out and based on averages and figured out volume that way. But he just poured the coffee beans on it, and then we measured the coffee beans to get the approximate average of how big that was.
And they all have little air bubbles I could see.
Yeah. And that was the coffee beans and the resin there.
I did a coffee bean square countertop, Tim, and we poured the epoxy in stages. So we poured it and then laid the beans and then poured and then laid the beans so that the beans were they stuck in while that was drying. But the whole thing was thick. I goofed up so many things, but the final layer turned out good. We did the torch and sand.
Yeah, so we did the heating and everything between that. And sometimes you just have to say to the kid, when the kid says to you, "Hey, I watched this video," you're gonna have to believe them and just watch. And that's sometimes what my role in this whole thing was: just watch what the kid does. And when he was mixing these coffee beans in the epoxy, he literally poured the coffee beans in the epoxy and then poured the whole mixture in there. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting take. But then I literally watched them float up top.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, I didn't know that would happen. And I guess, it realizes that the coffee beans are lighter and they float.
Could
So you kind of
yeah.
almost have to trust the kid. If he's telling you he's watching videos, what are you going to say? Oh, no, you didn't watch that video? So you kind of have to just say go and trust them. And this kid, I basically have just said, go do it and let him go.
And is the idea here that well, couldn't he like do a layer, not fill it all the way, let that solidify, and then do another one that would trap it?
Yes, you could. We could do it that way. But then the problem is it's multiple lifts, multiple days, and they're impatient and they don't want to do the multiple lifts. They don't want to do the multiple days. They don't want to do it. They want to do it in one they want to do it in one day.
Yeah.
And the problem is they can't do it in one day. If to do it right, they can't do it in one day. And you can only tell them so much until they get annoyed with you. And sometimes you just say, do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Of course.
You know?
Oh, we don't want to watch that right now. It's like it's a, I don't know, a PowerPoint presentation with some old guy or old lady talking about a volumetric measure and the number of hours and the temperature. Oh, the photographed blister pack that you just skipped over. That's pretty much what I stay to. Just a carded blister pack from JB Weld or 3M or the epoxy that you see at Home Depot.
Yeah.
I just use CA glue for stabilizing knots. I use CA glue.
So I had some CA glue that I tried to pour like I pour epoxy, and it didn't ever cure. And that was a bummer because when we cut through it with the sander, it was like gummy on the inside, and I'm not really sure what happened.
It could have been old, or you did too much.
Also, now is this like a box that you'll undo when you're done? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, that's the form.
And then, but why doesn't it stick to the form?
Because it's coated with tape.
I just can't see it there.
It's packing tape. It's clear packing tape.
Okay, I got you. Okay,
Yeah.
that's your release. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were trying to figure out volume there. That's what we were doing with that.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. What's this? Just a detail, a wood detail or something?
Yeah.
Just a design. Okay. Cool.
So I got that going on. I made 20 cornhole boards for the PTSA. Got a bunch of little independent projects coming up. Kids are trying to finish their tables. There's that other table. There was that arrow table that I showed you or that you
This
saw.
one?
No,
This one?
down. Scroll down. Right here. Scroll down. Right there. Right there.
Oh yeah.
That's the final piece of that arrow thing that you saw.
Nice.
So we glued it up on an angle and then mathematically figured out where the square needed to be and cut the things from there too. So it was one of those. So
It's cool.
What does that
There's
one get finished
lot of
with?
stuff.
Tim,
Say it
what's
again.
the finish coat to protect that table?
What do you mean?
Does it stay raw wood or do you put a sanding sealer on it?
Oh, well, they'll put polyurethane on it.
Polyurethane.
Yeah.
What type
they'll
of
put
wood is that? That it's like gray like that?
That's walnut and oak.
The oak is here.
Yep.
The lighter one. Oh, okay. Cool. It's awesome.
So there's a lot of things going on in class.
Yeah,
those
Tim,
are
what are the cornhole boards for?
the PTSA approached me late February and they asked me if I would be willing to do cornhole boards. So I never did cornhole boards before. And I said, how many do you want? And they said, we want 20. I'm like, 20? They're like, yeah, 10 sets. So I had to figure that out. Now, my principal had the laser engraver. He was able to laser engrave the logo on the front because it wouldn't fit in our machine. So he took them home. He laser engraved them at his house, brought them back, and then we assembled them.
What's this one? Oh, sorry.
That was a kid who overpoured epoxy, and he had a major epoxy failure, so he had extra epoxy. So we let it cure in a bowl, like in a plastic container, and I told him that would be cool to turn. So he started turning it.
That is cool. Is
So
it
that's literally solid plastic.
and is it the same tools as the wood?
We were using carbide. See, carbide seemed to work better than regular high-speed steel.
Gotcha. That's with the inserts.
That's a lot of leftover epoxy.
Yeah, they didn't pay. We mathematically figured we calculated something wrong. So
It was a 20% overage. It was
Look at this throwback.
state job.
yeah, that's a throwback right there.
Oh, we got Bob Kelly in the house. That's cool.
So that's kind of what's going on in the classroom.
Nice. What's this
and
bit here?
Those are wedge tenons for a milking stool
And Nick's here too.
that
Wedge
a kid
tenons?
that a kid
Oh.
is making.
Oh, I see. These are gonna get cut off.
Yeah, they'll all get cut off. Yeah, you don't sit on them.
There's a picture, scroll up, Ron, that you could see this is finished. Tim, how old is the student that did that one?
The one is a junior, one is a senior. That was done by two different kids.
Oh, here we go.
This is a junior student that finished the project early. So I said, let's do this. And he was all in. And I actually forced them to use oil-based finish, which we don't usually use. And he was tickled pink.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that turned out really, really good.
Nice.
And now he's required to give that to his favorite shop teacher. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I said to the kid, I said, listen, I don't have a rubric for this. Now I do have a rubric, but I didn't use it on it because it was an independent project. So I said to him, I said, grade it. And he goes, I would give myself a 99, 98. And I said, well, why? And he started telling me why. And I said, okay, that's fair. And I started pointing out things that were on it that I thought were also concerns. And, it was funny because that's literally the grade I put in a grade book. So
What's
did
going on
you
here?
stain?
What'd you say? Sorry, Roy. Go ahead.
It might have been the same question. How did you stain?
how did I stain that, or how did he stain that?
Yeah. What was the material? What was the substrate? What was the wood beneath it?
It was oak. He used oak. I don't remember if he used a tung oil or another oil. And then we used oil-based poly on it and sanded between the coats. And
I'm sorry, I meant the shaker night, the shaker, the nightstand. The
that is finished. General water-based stuff. That girl,
like
that
damn near black.
that looks black there. The lighting's horrible. But go to the next picture.
Is it more like a mocha?
Yeah, it's like a mocha color. I don't know what the exact color is, but this is stained amazing. This girl did an amazing job staining this.
Wow.
So it's a general finish water base.
Water base, but this is beautiful.
Thank you.
What's this detail down here? How do you achieve that?
Oh, that's a beading bit on the router table. So what I did was on those aprons, on the side aprons there, before we cut the tenons that insert in, I ran them on the router, and then we ran the beading on the router, and then we cut the tenons. So if there was any chip out, we cut it all out.
Well, that's
And then
cool.
this is a different table. This is actually a table that's painted black. And this year, in this photo that you see here, in this photo, I actually had this young lady, which is different from the other one. I required her to pre-finish one coat of black paint on everything. And where the joinery is going to be, we taped and covered so that the glue would adhere to it. So there are certain kids you can pull this off with, and other kids you can't. And this is a young lady that she pulled it off. So
Yeah, it's great.
so she pre-finished this, and then she pre-sanded that, and then we assembled it today.
Cool.
But that table and the table before it is the same table. It's just a bad photo. That's a different table. That's black.
Oh,
That's painted black. And then
Got
that
Yeah, I see
table,
the blue in one and the red in the other. Now that you pointed it out, I thought they were the same.
they're not. They're not.
We use shoe polish. You know
Oh.
the applicator for the dye that has the sponge on the front that you just rub on the toe of your shoe.
yeah.
We don't do this much, right? We usually make like a shaker peg black, or we'll make like one small detail, or we'll make a piece of poplar just look black so that it doesn't have to match the wood because it's underneath the tabletop or something, or a cleat that we're just trying to dress up so it doesn't look like it's plywood or crummy. We'll just use black shoe dye. But no, that looks. What'd you paint it with? Was it like something that is brush or roll on?
Foam, one of those foam brushes. Foam.
And was it like light latex paint?
Yeah, latex paint. That's latex paint right there. That black latex paint from Lowe's.
Can you sand latex paint?
Yeah, lightly.
It absorbs different.
It does build up on the sandpaper, but if you go really, really light, and if the kid doesn't put a heavy coat on, you can get a lot of the dust out and clean up. But then a trick I learned working at a cabinet shop was you take a razor blade, and what you do is you knife it, and you pull a razor blade over the surface, and it breaks all the little pimples that are on there.
Huh.
Yeah, it's called knife. The cabinet shop would call it knifing. So they would sand the finish and then knife it, and it gets smooth.
Perpendicular or long?
Perpendicular.
Like sliding it
Yeah.
flat like that. We
Yeah.
used to do something kind of weird that helped out was I worked at this plastic point of purchase place back in college, and if you had a plexiglass edge, if it came off the table saw, it would have saw marks on it. And then you take a torch and you'd slowly, not too slow and not too fast, enough that it would liquefy the saw marks a little bit. And then when that was done, you would take a blade in your hand and you'd pull, and that would rip it. And it was as if it never went through the saw blade. All the saw marks are gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And I only have the kids knife certain kids. You can only do this with certain kids.
Oh yeah.
You knife the latex paint.
Yeah.
That's one of those instances when I say keep sanding, when they have the saw blade marks on the plexiglass and you can still see them, keep sanding.
Oh yeah, totally.
But then once they get them all off, they're like, look. I'm like,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. 100%. It's so funny. I was just dealing with this today. We're making a part for the maintenance department. We're making like a joystick holder for a plow attachment on a machine, a UTV. And the part, we welded it. So it's got all these like spatter beads, little bubble, little whatever. It makes it horrible. So I was like holding in my hand. I was like, this should feel like an iPhone, and that clicks for them. Oh, iPhone. Oh, okay. And then they come back and the thing's freaking perfect, But before that, they're like, oh, it's good. I'm like, dude, you're going to get cut by touching it, Cool. Let me say hi to Bob Kelly's in the house. How you doing? I think he's got his camera off. He's muted. He must be doing other stuff. But and we got Nick in the house. How you doing?
I'm accounted.
Anybody have any other questions or anything?
Oh yeah, let's see. I think it's great what you're doing. I got a question about this. What is this here?
I'm making these light up like visual signs, and the shaft on the switches wasn't long enough to go through those pre-cut bases on the CNC. So I had a recess in the switches. So if you go to the back, if you go to the next picture,
this is all I got. Oh,
okay. I didn't know what the other picture was. So yeah, the switch is recessed, but it's flushed up the back. I needed to come up with a solution that allowed the switch to be used because I misordered the wrong ones, but yet make it look like it was intended to be the right way.
and are you gonna? It's an epoxy pour in the cavity here.
No, a circuit board's gonna go in there.
That would be cool, Matt. Can you, if you resin something and it's got wires, it'll still work, right?
Yeah.
That would be sick. You know, in electronics, they call it potting. And it's when they pour a resin onto the circuit board because they don't want anything happening to it. But however, I think that traps heat a little bit, but I guess it works as a heat sink a little bit. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so that was just me playing around trying to figure out what I want to do with these kids' projects because I didn't want to destroy. I don't want to get rid of the bases that were usable, and I have the switches, and I don't want to waste them. So I figured you got to figure out a way to use it. You got to be innovative.
This is your site visit, or what's this?
This was a site visit to Roxbury High School to see Frank.
Yeah, that's cool. And we should say that you won an award recently.
Yeah, thank you.
What award was it? Image or
I
something?
got a NJTEEA Image Award for promoting technology education thanks to the podcast.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
That's great. And
Good.
I went to the awards dinner, and Timmy didn't go to the awards dinner.
Well, I got kids baseball, and I got horseback riding.
You weren't the only one. They kept calling the awards, and there must have been most people. They're like, and this person, not here. All right, next. It was all night long. It was funny, but this is good stuff. Actually, the speaker was great at this awards dinner.
If you go back to the one picture, you can see me in it at the site visit. You get my good side. You got my good side
Here,
right there. Yeah, that's me on the right.
that's funny. That's
So,
cool.
yeah, Frank.
What do you think of his shop?
It's amazing. What he's doing there is amazing. There's no
Wow.
other words.
Wow.
Phenomenal.
Dude, he's on point, you know. I didn't really know him that well when he first took over as executive director of the tech ed. I was like, okay. And then man, he really stepped up his game. He's like awesome. He's so good. He's so enthusiastic and he's organized and stuff. It's great. Yeah. I'm actually trying to get my supervisor and my rest of my department to join the tech ed and get the town to pay for it and start going to the meetings because I'm the only one that goes. Oh, that's a good question. We got a question from Roy. Can we go to the ACTE in November? What is that? What is that, Roy?
National conference. Sometimes it's in St. Louis or San Antonio, Texas. It just happens to be 4 hours away from me.
National
November.
Association of Thousands of Career and Technical Education Professionals. Oh.
There's like 7 decent wood shops in Clark County that I want to touch base with those teachers. I think that they have enough support in their county that they don't ever reach out beyond it. Does that make sense? I think they're pretty like insulated. But I've seen some photos of their shops and they're varied too. It's not like there's one curriculum that 7 teachers share or 7 programs share. But it's going to be in Vegas. We're going.
Yeah.
My team of I don't know, 7 to 10.
Interesting.
It's a team of 10. I think the most that would go is probably 7.
They're on Instagram.
Huh. That's funny.
ACTE.
I should probably get somebody from there to join the podcast one night just to see what's going on. That's cool. Yeah, I never really thought about them. I don't know much about them.
This will be my first time going to their conference.
What?
This will be my first time going to the conference. I want to go to Louisville in 2023 or 24. And I feel like I have to go to Vegas. I feel like Vegas is an easy sell
Yeah.
for my district because it's 4 hours away. You can go 12 hours in state in California, right? Not flight, but driving. So 4 hours is an easy sell. And if we've been to the national show before as a team, maybe we can go again.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna be going to. I'll probably be going to SEMA, and that's a little earlier in November. If this is on a weekend, it's possible, I guess.
I think it's weekday. I think it's like Tuesday through Thursday.
Okay, it's a possibility, maybe. Interesting. That's cool. I
It's
mean, I
just-
always. It's what?
Will New Jersey send teachers to Vegas? Because it is
On
really
your own
far. I
dime.
think-
On your own dime.
Yeah, it would never send me to New Jersey or like Manhattan if there was like a
Oh,
wood shop teachers
they'll
convention.
pay for it. They'll pay for this.
I think so.
Oh no. Yeah, they won't pay. I can do whatever I want, but I got to pay for it.
Can you? I don't know how grant funding is in New Jersey, but can you? Is it narrative based in New Jersey, where you say like what you need to become a better program, and then you show what you got, and then you show the culmination of it? Is there anything like that in New Jersey?
I don't know. No, I don't know. I think you just if you put the effort in to get a grant, then you're okay, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
In California,
okay.
it's all like story based.
Oh, well, I guess that's like in the same way, merit based. You like write a grant, and if the narrative's good, then yeah.
Yeah. And then if you've done what you said you were going to do, then you can get more money.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Renewable energy teacher training event. Nick put this up in the chat, and that's through ACET. What is this, Nick?
Well, I'm on their mailer, and it's more of a teach the teacher to then teach these classes. So solar voltaics, wind, and then heating and cooling. But it's a 1 day workshop.
I need a
Free
thermal break.
the way it looks. They're giving you a stipend for $100 or whatever for
Yeah,
I guess gas or whatever.
that's cool.
So it's about 3 hours from me.
3 hours from you?
Yeah.
Which way? Towards Syracuse and Buffalo?
North, yeah. So north, in between me and like Syracuse,
Oh wow!
or like Utica and Syracuse, if you want to look at a map that way.
I forget how big New York is. Jesus. All right. Well, actually, I want to kind of wrap this one up, but I think I want to. Nick, do you have any end of the year projects you want to show us? Stuff you're working on? Stuff the kids did?
Not that I've documented.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right, no problem. This is pretty good. I think we got around to everybody, right? Oh, what about Duke?
Well, it's just another 22 days for me.
Yeah.
Just wrapping it up. But
you got any projects you want to show us?
let's see. Well, the 8th graders, they're still making that cell phone stand. You might have to back up a little bit. Dude,
Oh, okay.
6th graders using the scroll saws for the
Tim,
first
thanks
time.
a lot, man.
See ya.
Okay.
Later, guys.
No, so you talk about concentration, getting the kids to concentrate during school. These kids are on it. Like it's their first time on the machine, so they're like pretty timid with it.
Oh yeah.
But
The scroll saw.
those kids, I got a pack class in there. I got like 28 kids, so half of them are using the coping saw, half of them are using the scroll saws, and I'm running around like a maniac. So they got the Pinewood Derby cars. So we make a Pinewood Derby stand. So there's the stand. Now they 3D print that. We draw it in Tinkercad. And then I'll just mass produce, print them out. You know,
Oh, is this
they're not the
is this your
individual.
track?
Yep.
Oh, I see the guide. It's just a slightly higher little
Yep.
center thing. That's all.
Raise a little bit just to keep them in the lane.
That's a great idea. You don't need a string, just a raised thing in the middle.
Yeah. Well, the CO2 cars, you still need a string. These gravitational Pinewood Derby cars, it just goes down a ramp.
That's great. And then this pin gets pulled, and that's it, right?
That's it.
Shit, man. How old is that ramp?
The old shop teacher made it out of the billboard when the school was being built.
Oh my God.
1993.
Whoa. Oh, wait, it's got a nice curve in it. How did he
Yeah.
do that? Damn.
Lift it up. Kids love it. Go
But how's it
crazy.
got? How do you do the curve? Is that literally from the cut? Like how big of a curve cut is that? Jeez. That thing.
No, that lies flat and you just let it rest.
Oh, you mean it's flexible?
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
flexible enough. What is it, half-inch
Oh.
plywood there, dude?
Yeah, it's just plywood. Yep.
Yeah, half-inch plywood will flex that much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when it's cut, the strips are cut narrow enough, it'll flex.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize how thick this was. That's awesome. This is great.
Yeah, seventh
love-
graders are still doing the robots. They're building the robots, trying to get them done. Once we get them done, we have a lesson on drones. So
This
that's like where the Terminator is. Yep. So then they do like a laser engraving piece too. I wish I knew because I got these kids in this laser engraving project. Probably they came out awesome. I'll post them in a couple of days.
He is here. Yeah, that's cool.
And then eighth grade is making those cell phone stands still. There's a lot of processes in that. So I got them 3D printing. Those are the coin toss. We had a bunch of those left over from the shutdown. I don't even know what they were in it. Like you guys are saying before, you open a drawer and you find things in the shop. I opened up a filing cabinet and all the kids' projects before the shutdown were there.
Ah.
So their names were stamped in, so I just ran them through the planer.
Oh, that's funny.
Holes were already drilled and everything. The
Oh,
kids
look at this.
Yeah, there's
Industrial eraser.
Oh, this is outdoors. That's great. Was
Yeah, Giant Stadium, East Rutherford.
yeah. Was anyway, I forgot. There's a female driver. She's got the dog.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she was there.
Gouttiere or something like that. She's French. She's a killer driver. She does like really risky stuff. It's awesome. That's cool. Nice. Look at this kid. He's adorable. Look at this kid. Oh my God. He can't even hold the saw. Look at this kid. He looks like he's like a young, like
Yeah.
badass.
The Breakfast Club.
Yeah,
would be-
he's got the Breakfast Club clothes on. Roy, are you seeing this, man? Look at this kid. He's from the Breakfast Club. He's gonna like beat you up. He's like, "Where's your lunch money, kid?" You know, he's gonna beat Duke up.
Well, it is May, so you got to keep your fingers warm.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's funny. I wear the cutoffs. It's great because then you could still mess with the radio and still drive your car. You know?
There's the cell phone stands. So they'll do cell phone stands. You know, we'll bend the acrylic plastic on the strip heater.
Oh, it's
there's
Back
a
to the
3D
Future right there.
Yep, 3D print. So they'll design a 3D print and 3D print it, and then
Well,
you get a small piece of wood, they can laser engrave a picture because some kids are like, well, what am I going to do if I'm using my phone and this piece of plastic is there? Or what if I don't have a phone? So then we 3D laser engrave the picture.
It's cool. And with that little piece of bent, what do you do? Like a hot wire, or not a hot wire, but a hot, like how do you bend it with heat?
Straight on a strip heater.
Strip heater, that's it.
Yep.
Okay. We used to have I worked in the plastic industry for like, I don't know, a year when I was in college, and we used to do stuff like this. It's funny. You could do a lot with the plastic, That's cool.
But the
Right.
kids they're like, oh, I can't wait to take these home. They're like, can we take them home today if we're done? I'm like, nah, I gotta put them on the gram, post them on the gram. Everyone's together. They're like, oh,
Do it for the gram.
yep.
It's great. What's the R Brothers?
Some of these things, who knows what these kids
Yeah,
put
who
on.
knows, right? Oh, look at this square body for life. The kid wasn't even born when the square bodies were out, and he's into it. There's not even I mean, you barely even see them on the road anymore. That's a classic car now. So
I know
cool.
you barely see them.
Jimmy's got like 4 of them.
Timmy?
No, Jimmy.
Oh, of course. Oh yeah, Jimmy's all about the square body. That's funny. They got the square Rangers the year before my year. No, maybe 2 years, maybe 93, I think. 94 was my body, but it was still a square dash. Then 96 is my body, but with like an organic dash and an OBD2. It has changed the game right there. Cool stuff. This is awesome. All right, let's anybody else got anything? We could kill the recording there. That was good. That was a good end of the year wrap up. We lost some people, but we're still here. Next week we're gonna do I think it might be an auto shot teacher, or it's gonna be Tiffany, welding instructor in California. And then we're gonna have the Building Performance Institute is coming on June 8th. And there's a whole bunch of people. I just got to confirm all this stuff. All right. Shop Class Podcast. Thanks a lot. See you.
See ya.